you're gonna hear me on the radio. Call me what you want. To me, it's the good old days. We're living here in the good old days. While they're going on around us, thinking we've got it made. When the good times we found us, ain't no need to backtrack. I don't wanna look back. Now we really got it made. I think I'll just stay right here. Well, I said I'll just sit right here. And I think I'll just stay right here in the good old days.
You are listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. WOOP FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
Where'd the old town go? They moved it all north of here in the shopping mall.
Good morning and welcome to Old Town Cleveland here on WOOP FM 99.9, or you can go to the internet at www.woopfm.com. You can call us at 614-5553. Good morning, Deb. Tell us what's going on today.
Nothing much.
All right.
Today is October the 19th.
We weren't talking about the program. You're talking about outside of here, right?
Outside of here. We have our friends from the Museum Center here this morning. We have Lisa Chastain and Hassan Jahar. Did I get?
Got the first name right, last name wrong.
Hassan.
That's all right.
Getting better each time.
Sandy.
What's that?
We just call you Sandy.
We're just going to make up a name because Debbie can never get that.
Hey, you.
But anyway, we're doing Building Cleveland Up today. We're going to talk about when Cleveland really started booming and growing, and we're going to talk about a lot of places that some of you guys went, especially as children, to some of the old theaters, and we hope that you will call in with your memories of those places and the businesses that you knew, and you help us along with this today and let us hear your memories, because those are the important things for us to hear. Before we get started, I want to say that the Cleveland Apple Festival is going on today. And I was just thinking this morning how proud I am of those folks, because I remember going the first year and it was a table of apples and a couple crafters, and that was about it. And when we drove by there this morning, it's several blocks of people set up with their craft tents and other kind of venues, and I'm sure there's a fried pie down there somewhere. And so go out and support them today and tomorrow.
And warning, there are politicians out now.
I've already seen politicians.
Are starting to come out.
Lord. Yes, well, we'll just shake hands and go on there. We were up last weekend at Charleston, and they had a nice little thing going on up there in the park, and I always appreciate those folks trying to revive that community and hang on to some heritage up there. They were doing the tractor show, and I saw things that I had no idea what it was. We saw Bird Dog and JR's girl up there. Hadn't seen them in a while. It was good to see them, and a lot of other folks came up to us and told us that they listen to the show all the time, and we really appreciate that. And Ron, tell everybody why your feet are tired this morning.
We went with the Whoop on Wheels crew yesterday down to Talladega Raceway, and we spent the entire day in the pits interviewing people for the Dirt Track documentary. And it's hard to get to talk to a lot of people because, first off, there's a lot of noise there. And the other part is that they're really all busy. But we did find some of the racing legends, people like Red Farmer and Shepard Morgan and Morgan Shepard. I always say it backwards. And several other guys, and talked to Donnie Allison yesterday. So some legendary guys in that. And our plans is to go down tomorrow for the actual big race. So if you've never been inside the pits at NASCAR, it is a different world, I have to admit, and it is loud. And when you're standing there, about 40 feet from cars going over 200 miles an hour. I think the fastest speed yesterday was 202. That's pretty darn fast.
I was surprised at the trucks. You would think 175 miles an hour, 176. That's a fast little truck.
So we'd like to say thanks to the people.
Of course, we saw people pushing cars all day, too, which cracked me up. They'd push it out of this garage into that garage, and then they'd push it to get ready to go on the track. And then when it came off the track, they'd push. So there's guys that their whole job in life is to push cars. And
we'd like to thank Sprint Vision, who provided us the passes down there. They put up the huge screens for everybody to see, and so those people get that. And
that was pretty interesting going in that trailer and seeing all those electronics and stuff. And I kind of like to have that guy's job. I think once he sits down and gets it all turned on, he just sits there in the air conditioning and in a comfortable chair and watches and pushes a button every now and then.
And he has food and drinks. That's even better.
Oh, yeah.
Fast Eddie, the host, one of the hosts of of our Whoop on Wheels shows here, got to meet Dale Earnhardt Jr. yesterday, and I thought he was going to pass out. He was just totally.
Oh, thank you. That's what I need.
Good morning, live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning, Mr. Ron. Did you enjoy yourself down there?
Yes, we did.
I never have been. I've been close to it, but it's a big place.
Well, it's about the size of Cleveland.
Well, if you...
I mean, literally, it is. If you would take downtown Cleveland fit it in there like 25, 30 times. It's huge.
Oh, really?
Well, I would think that with the just what's inside the track, I mean, the city of Charleston is a mile square.
Yeah.
And I'd say you could sit
100 of them.
100 of them, not quite.
The track is 2.6 miles long.
You just talking about Red Farmer. He was one that was with Davey Allison in a helicopter. He
sure did. We were right near where he crashed when we talked to him, matter of fact.
Yeah. Just to say something about this little movie, I mean, talking about the back in the days, I used to live on 2nd Street. Deb knows his road from the Red Ribbon, and I actually walked on crutches all the way to Martin Theater back in 68. I seen Coogan's Bluff when it first come out.
Coogan's Bluff.
On crutches, no doubt.
Yeah, I walked all the way to see the movies there, but I actually lived where. I was gonna tell you, I also saw Randy Fox at the football game, and I didn't recognize the rascal. He'd grown a beard or something, and
he's joining Duck Dynasty.
But I know he's going to have a lot of call-ins today. So, but I just wanted to kid you about that. Are you going to the race?
Yes, we're going back tomorrow.
Well, you'll enjoy it.
Well, like I say, it's an experience there, and like I say, the problem is if you have pit passes, there is absolutely not a single bench or a place to sit, and we stood up all day yesterday.
Let me ask you this: is it real noisy?
It's not. Well, if you're in the garage and they're tuning on the cars, it gets noisy. The race wasn't as loud as you. I think if you were in like Bristol, it'd be deafening because it's so close. But there, after they go past the front stretch, you don't see them for 14, 15 more seconds. They're behind you, and you hear them way off in the distance. It's a big track, and but it's interesting. It's a different culture of people. Jeff Gordon stepped out of his trailer, and there's like 200,000 people circled him, and when there was no one there.
Exaggerating just a little bit.
Well, there was a lot of people, and I realized Jeff Gordon is a tiny little man.
Yeah.
I mean, he's tiny.
I do envy it. I wish I could go, but they say if you blink that you'll miss them go by.
Oh, well, they do go pretty. And, hey, Bullet, guess what's behind my house in a cage this morning?
Oh, have you got one?
I've got a skunk in my cage behind the house.
Well.
So do you still want to come get it?
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's back there. You know where, right by the pool back there.
The only thing I'm going to have to ask about that cage now, is it hard to release it?
Well, not really, but it's hard when the skunk's in
there. It's going to be harder when the skunk's in.
And a skunk in there makes it a little harder, but no, the door just flips back up. It's just what's the skunk doing while you're flipping the door up?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to have to get something to put over the cage.
Why don't you come see us later after we're home?
Well, you know what somebody does. This is not humane, but they tie a rope to the handle and they just put it down in the creek, and then come back in a few minutes and.
Don't you put that in my pool?
Oh.
That's what they say. Now, I ain't gonna tell you who told me to do that. Somebody works for the government, but I'm not. We'd like to just release it, but it wasn't happy when it got in there because
Lisa, we were happy when it was living in our yard, but it has now moved under our house.
Oh,
Well, not
So-
anymore. It's
No.
it's behind the house
So
now. in
we
the
hope
cave.
it doesn't have a large family.
Now we got to catch the groundhog that dug the holes where the skunk could get in. Now, so that's the.
You can use that cage for it.
Yeah, if you can get the skunk out of it.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
All right, it's good talking to you.
All right, bye-bye. He didn't want to talk to me long after talking about getting the skunk.
Our
That-
preference would be that it finds a new home.
That's right.
They're beautiful animals, from a
It's
distance.
a little harder to deal with than a groundhog.
But yeah.
We love the
Sounds like-
directions on the cage.
Oh.
It said, "Do not attempt to make the wild animal a pet. Do not pet it."
And they may be agitated after
Yeah.
getting caught in the cage.
We read the directions and we were laughing so hard we couldn't get because Ron's trying to set the trap and I'm reading directions and I'm reading the warnings. Do not make a friend with the animal.
Yeah, I'm glad I don't have to live off the land. I'd be in trouble. I
Yeah,
would, 'cause-
'cause it took us 3 days to catch it with a
yeah,
trap.
So, but yeah, guys, tell us about the exhibit and when it opens.
Building
Hello?
Cleveland Up opens this Thursday, October 24th, for a members opening at 6 p.m.
Okay.
And it'll be open to the public that Friday, the 25th, at 10 a.m.
And give us a Reader's Digest real quick, early salvo. What's in there?
I think this could have been called the Old Cleveland exhibit
It
because
could
this
have.
is what we have talked about for so long. So we're really excited that you guys are doing this. So give us
Oh, so
a
am I.
So
brief.
what will they expect? And just a real quick summary there.
Well, we start with 1880 when the city actually dissolved. There was a mayoral race that was very hotly contended. Fights broke out. City decided to send around a petition after the third reading. It was decided that the city would be reincorporated back into Bradley County and Cleveland no longer existed on December 31st, 1879.
See, that Mayor Rowland take that vote, right?
Has he been in office
Yeah,
that
he
long?
has. He's been around a long time.
So it took citizens 2 years to come up with another petition. And in 1882, Cleveland finally existed again, according to the Tennessee State Legislature. So we kind of start from there, and we move forward on the building of downtown, how Cleveland got electricity and water, and the building up of all the theaters and the clubs that people started joining. And we talk about Craig Miles Opera House, and when that ended, the Cherokee Hotel built up and kind of filled that void of having a venue for all of the meetings and receptions and events that went on in Cleveland.
I love the story of the Cherokee Hotel because it was actually a grassroots campaign. The people here decided that they needed this to put Cleveland on the map. And Cleveland was in such a great location. It was on the main drag that everybody had, or close to the main drag. I guess it was on the main drag then because
Yep.
Highway 11 came up through the middle of Cleveland, and they needed something to make people stop here that were going long distances, and the Cherokee Hotel was it.
Yeah, I think the first time it ever sold, it sold for $300,000. I think I read one time, which was a lot of money.
That was a lot of
back
money.
in built 1925. Is that right? 1920.
that time, yeah.
Yeah, somewhere in there it was built, and so, and
It was the most modern. It had the
Oh,
most,
yeah.
but it was Colonel Corn and other business leaders that got together.
Hardwicks, yeah.
Hardwicks,
And
and
the
I believe the Chamber of Commerce was
Chamber of-
developed at
Yes,
the same
Yeah.
time.
around the same
and
time.
Yeah, and they were very involved in getting there, and I think they rented one of the rooms out, had a barber in there. At one time, WCLE broadcasted out of the Cherokee Hotel.
Their first broadcast was
And
from
then
there.
basically for many years, any sports banquet, high school banquet, or wedding reception was held.
It was just the biggest place
Yeah.
and the nicest place to have anything.
And the irony of all that is that we're having a really hard time finding interior pictures that are just of the interior that doesn't have lots of people standing in them or any of those things. So if you have those pictures,
Have you ever been up in
we would
the-
love to see it.
I've never been up in there.
I haven't
no.
either. I've never
Of course,
been
the
in.
hotel, the elevators are fun because they are built back in those
And they
days.
work most of the time.
And
Oh,
They weren't
no.
coming down.
Oh, no.
but if you've ever been in an older hotel, this room here that we're in right now is like 3 times bigger than the sleeping rooms. They're
Right.
tiny little rooms, and it used to, because you didn't have TVs, it's pretty much just a
Place to
just a
sleep.
Sleep. You laid down, and that's it. And they had one common bathroom down the end of the hall.
Mm-hmm.
They didn't have bathrooms in every room, so you had to pay extra for that, I guess. But but they're tiny little rooms. If you ever go in there, if you ever get a chance, you could probably go by the summit, and someone there would take you up and show you a room there.
I believe that
You may want to walk up. I don't know.
Yeah, I'd probably walk up.
we know that the folks from Wild River stayed there when they were here, and there was a lot of incidences of kids going up a couple flights of stairs and then catching the elevator up to the stars floor. So they snuck by security that way.
Oh, Super Dave that was with us yesterday is writing the book about Wild River. I mean, he went to California to the showing of Wild River again at 20th Century Fox, and it's a pretty big story for them, that they're actually somebody's writing a story. The movie never got great play times because of Elie Kazan, and it was about the time of all the McCarthyism and all that stuff going on. So he got on some of those lists, but he went on later. Had pretty good success in the movies, but it's great. But you're not talking about the Coffin Company this time. You said
no. I was going through some items for this exhibit, and I came across that picture. So I was pretty excited to find some more.
So, and now,
well, that's it. I do the same thing at home. Sometimes I'll file something under business or something.
Right, it was just filed under something different.
Yeah.
So this coming Thursday at 6:00 is a member showing.
Right.
And how do people get their membership?
Oh, that's easy. They can just call and give us their money.
Or stop
Basically
by.
what it boils down to.
What's the memberships? You get several levels there. Do you?
Oh, yeah. The lowest one is individual membership that starts at $35, and then it goes up from there. The family membership is $60. After that is the sponsor level at $125, and it just goes up from there. And then there are increasing benefits depending on which level you purchase, but some pretty good deals there.
You can go to other museums on some of those packages, right?
Yeah. The sponsor level membership includes free admission to over 200 museums in the Southeast.
And how much is the sponsor museum?
$125. Mm-hmm.
Pretty darn good.
Yeah,
that's pretty good considering that most museums. I've paid $8 and $10 easily
Well,
to
if
go
you pay
in.
$5 a piece and you go to all 200 of them, you've more than made your money back.
More than.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's try that, Ron. Let's see if we can.
We're far on our way there.
Well, some museums, admission is like $16.
Yes.
Some of these bigger museums, you take a family of 4, you're already out to
I
a pretty
think
good amount.
The Booth Museum down in Cartersville's about $12.
Yeah.
I believe so.
Now the time,
And they're on
well
that
worth
list.
it.
Yeah,
Worth it.
they're unbelievable. Just the presidential room where they had a letter from every president, handwritten letter or typed letter for something. Either of those. I thought that was pretty interesting. There's not as many handwritten letters as you get. The newer guys don't anybody write anymore.
Right. Yeah.
We were talking about coming back that in a few years or 100 years now, there won't be any pictures because everybody takes them on their cell phone and you carry them around. Then you say, "Oh, I'm through with that now." You just delete them.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to lose a lot of pictures. Nobody writes a letter. I haven't read a letter, or even wrote one either. I'm from the South. I can write things,
That's right.
But that's good. So now all the movie theaters. There was the Bohemia.
The Bohemia. We talk about the Bohemia, the Moneta, and the Princess.
Mm-hmm.
And now there was a black theater.
There was.
But
the Lincoln.
Lincoln, yeah.
The Lincoln.
I don't have any pictures of it. I know if you go under the underpass on Edmund Street, going towards what we call 6th Ward, it was right there on the right somewhere, I think, going up through there. But I don't know anybody has ever seen a picture of it. Now, I think Matador, who does our afternoon program there, said he remembers going to it.
Oh.
I don't remember it because I don't even remember seeing the bill.
I
remember there was the House of the Happy Feet on the other side over there. That was the dance hall for over there.
So, Lisa, what did you find in all this that surprised you? Or that maybe you went, wow, I didn't know that?
Well, I was pretty surprised the fact that, of course, the city dissolved, so quickly.
And there was
just
actually an
because of
obituary in the newspaper.
There was
for
an
the city.
obituary in the newspaper.
Which
saying
was
goodbye
kind
to
of, when I
Cleveland.
read that, I thought, okay, this is a editorial here, but they made it look like an obituary, which was very creative, I thought.
Right. But Robert McNally, who was the editor of the Banner at that time, I think he was just so excited. He just wrote everything he could about that. The dissolution and everything that was going on. I think he was just so thrilled. So I thought the fact that our city dissolved was very interesting. It took 2 years to even come back.
Well, what and did it come right down between a Republican, Democrats?
Basically, yeah,
I mean,
38
it's-
votes
the parallel
separated.
to today is very strong.
Oh yeah,
Well,
the
It
government
took them
shut
2
down.
whole years to come to, having the town back again.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Not much different than today.
McNally, of course, was a big Democrat, and of course didn't fare well during the or the McNally family. I don't
Right.
when they ran the Banner. Because it was basically a Democrat newspaper until 1860. Then after 1860, Bradley County became Republican. And if you go back and look at the historical, I think Bradley County has voted for one Democrat president since 1860, and that was Franklin Delano Roosevelt on his second term. But they didn't vote for him on his first, third, or fourth. But they did vote for him. So that's the only Democrat they've ever voted for in Bradley County since that time. Since 18, and it changed, but. That was McNally. I could see him writing that in the newspaper,
Right.
reading about it, because he just wanted to stick it to these Republicans.
He did.
and he really wanted to make them. And and it was interesting him still being or the McNally family. I don't know if it was still the senior or it was the junior at this time. I can't
Robert,
remember.
I'm not.
But still, been the senior at
Yeah.
1880.
Yeah.
And do you know that there was a cigar company in Cleveland? It was a very popular cigar company in the 1880s here.
I think I've read it, but I haven't
There's
found
not a-
anything about it.
I
other
believe it
than-
was about where the Princess Theater was.
Really.
Just from, I don't remember now.
Well, they
but
started
reading
2 or
from
3
the-
places, but it became a big market, and they were doing a lot of cigars, and then something happened.
No one knows.
Dun, dun,
Cigarettes.
Ah.
Not your roll your own kind anymore. It was actually processed cigarettes, and that took over and really put the cigar sale out of business.
Yeah.
Right.
I think what's really interesting is that once the government came back together, the very first order of businesses for the new government is licensing 3 new saloons.
They wanted to
That
party.
That was top of the
Well, important stuff.
top of the list.
Well, someone here online, and I'm going to have to shut down and start over because I'm having to type in a long time to get one word to come out. But someone's saying, Deb's saying that W.H. Craig Miles built a saloon and remodeled a portion of the Opera House in 1879, and my question to her was the block south of the Craig Miles Opera House was also the Craig Miles building,
Right.
and it's where the Masonic Lodge is now, and is that
C.J. Wilson's store was there.
all that whole block.
Yeah.
But my favorite picture I think of downtown Cleveland is the one where at Johnson's and Tipton's store that has a giant coffee pot hanging out over the front door, and when I say giant, looked like it was 12 foot tall and 6 foot wide, and you really don't notice it in the picture until you look really closely. And I thought, what in the world is that?
Then you notice the big sign that says saloon. Too.
Right next
You
door.
Ah,
So you got your whiskey here, and you got
So
your
the
coffee.
coffee
Sober
right
up next
there.
door.
And
So what you would have is, if folks listening remembers to being the old Cleveland National Bank building, then there was a little skinny vacant lot, and then there was I call it the coffee pot store. It's the Johnston and Tipton store, and the Tipton family we know later built the Tipton House, which is the Philhar House. And then it was the saloon was right next door because you can see the end of the word saloon in the picture
Paul Dietrich's office is right
in there somewhere.
right on
Right.
above that. Yeah. So
And I'm so glad that I believe it was 86, a lot of people went through and put some things on the National Registry. And I got the state of Tennessee coming this week to look at a church down in the Red Hill Valley that I'm real excited about getting on the registry. And I think we've got a real good shot at it. They're
great.
really particular about it now. You can't have vinyl siding on it, and the windows can't be changed. Well, it's really hard to find a 200-year-old building
yeah.
that the windows have not been updated. It's almost the responsible thing to do.
now the Monique, did you call it Monique or
Monet.
Monet.
Is that it?
Monita?
No, Monita. There you go.
Monita.
Good morning. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Hello, Ron.
Hey.
Hey, Neil.
Howdy. You have the picture of the Cherokee Hotel there. I remember there being a photographer there, and I just barely remember being in there. I mean, I was really a tow-headed kid, and Mother took all 4 of us up there to be photographed, and I remember that. And I also remember around on the front corner on Ocoee Street there was Pinion Jewelry.
Mm-hmm.
And I bought my first watch there. I was probably maybe in the 9th grade, possibly 10th. And I got it in my head, I need a watch. I need to know what time of day it is all the time. So I bought my first watch there.
A watch is almost a thing of the past, isn't it, Neil?
Oh, well, yeah. But it was just a cheap Elgin, but it was a watch that I didn't have. Another thing that I really enjoyed, in fact, most all the kids in the neighborhood did, when the village shopping center was built, it was in walking distance, and I really enjoyed the Hobby Mart. I would build models and stuff, and could walk down there from where we lived, to get stuff. And I remember Bill White ran it. In fact, he just lived up the street from us, and he was really a genuinely nice guy. He would take the time, and something that impressed me, not necessarily then, but looking back on it, he would approach and talk to you as an adult. He was serious about, selling you something, and he was knowledgeable about everything he had in there,
I remember, Neil, my mom, all of us going to the movies there.
Yeah.
And then my mom walked me up there and let me spend my birthday money, and I got a Snow White watch or some kind of little girl's watch like that. And I remember everybody standing back and letting me do my own purchase, and I thought I was just the queen of the world.
The Hobby Mart was in the building here where the radio studio is.
Right.
This was the Hobby Mart here.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with it. Like I said, I was in and out of there quite a bit. But another thing uptown that I remember was the Harshbarger Stratton store. And this was after I was in high school and working some and had some money in my pocket, and would go up there and buy some clothes. And matter of fact, I dressed a heck of a lot better back then than I do now. But
I think a lot of people do.
Yeah. But, it was well, we've always managed to have a pretty good time, but we just trot across the golf course there and back on the backside of the Starview and right on down to the village. And there was things to do there. Some of us go down too in the bowling alley. We didn't bowl much, but there was also a pool room there.
Mm-hmm.
And I never was good at shooting pool, but I enjoyed doing it. And then they had a snack bar there. Of course, you could get something to eat.
And pinball machines.
Pinball machines never did. I just never did wind my spring.
I played a little pool and played a little pinball there.
Yeah.
And ate as a snack bar. I didn't bowl, though.
Neil, I saw a lot of things yesterday. I thought, boy, I wish Neil was here to explain to me what I'm looking at. In the garages and things.
Yeah, I remember the first time I went to Talladega. It was 1973, and all I had ever seen, of course, was quarter-mile dirt track racing. And got through, and where you could see the whole track. And I thought, my Lord, it'd take them half a day to make a lap. I didn't really think that. I knew they ran faster, than 100 miles an hour. They would approach 200, but when they get wound out and get to going now they're going. I do remember that race. Regrettably, I don't remember the guy's name, but I remember the car. It was a Carling Black Label car. Crashed and killed the guy. And I was there. I don't remember what year it was, but I remember that Bill Elliott won the race. But he busted the power steering line, I think, and blew all the oil out of it, and looked like it had blown up, but it didn't. I think it was a couple of laps down. Of course, I had to pit to fix it, and got back out there, made the laps up, and won the race. So,
Neil, when you were growing up, what businesses do you remember being maybe on Inman Street?
Inman Street?
Because Inman Street stopped right at the base of Bank of Cleveland.
Right.
There was a house there.
Spec Hospital.
And then
Yeah,
Spec Hospital's
was
there. But now it was first the Methodist Church, and then it became Spec Hospital.
I really don't.
What about the car lots? I have to talk Neil's language. What about the car lots, Neil, that were there?
Oh, there were lots of them. Of course, there were, as you know, Cleveland was a big wholesale center until the 60 Minutes episode.
Yes, I understand that. I heard about that yesterday again.
Yeah.
But was there actually a car lot in the old CC Card building when you were growing up, across from Chase Appliance?
That was Chase Pontiac.
No,
Yeah.
Chase Pontiac was next door to it.
Yeah.
But across the street where the little dance studio is now was CC Cards, and they took the cars up in the
right.
back. Do you actually remember a business being in there?
Not really.
Okay.
Did you ever go to the Bohemia Theater?
No, I went to the Princess, and I remember seeing Ben Hur there, and of course saw all kinds of movies there. But I remember seeing Ben Hur and Buried Alive with Ray Milland, and of course hundreds. Well, not necessarily hundreds, but lots of other movies. We could also, walk up there and back, but there were things to do if you had worked and put some money in your pocket to.
If you cleaned enough cars for your dad.
I hate to tell you, my first movie at the Princess was That Darn Cat.
One thing, I must have been a strange.
The classic.
Well, I guess I was, but one of the favorite things they had at the Princess in the concession stand was a big deal pickle. And I think they were called Chili Willies. They were chill. And I'd get a big deal pickle.
And now, if your mom had tried to give you that at home, you probably wouldn't have taken it. But it was just all the mystique behind it all.
Also at the Princess, did you get a suicide?
Don't think so. Was it a drink?
It was a drink. In other words, every drink they had, they poured some of it into a thing. So you had Sprite, grape, orange, whatever they had. They had cherry Coke.
You know what
there
it
too.
tasted like? It tasted like a whole bunch of flavors that didn't go together, poured together.
But if you was a kid, you going, I'm having me a suicide. And it wasn't good, but you drunk it because everybody else drunk one.
Another thing we would do at the Village, Old Village Shopping Center, the Kohl's drugstore was there, and they had a good-sized chocolate called, I'm pretty sure, for 29 cents. That sounds right. That sounds like the
it sounds right to me.
Right. And a friend of mine lived right up the street. In fact, grew up with him, and it was Brenda Allen's cousin. But we would go down there and, fool around, this, that, and the other, and do whatever we were going to do. Then we might get one of those chocolate milkshakes or malts. And he would grab the mustard bottle and put, a good squirt of mustard in that chocolate milkshake and stir it up and just swear it was good. I wasn't going to take it and ruin my 20 cents.
Yeah, that's...
No.
Yuck.
But,
Neil, the picture we're looking at has the old sign on it, and it's got the iconic Indian holding the sign that says Cherokee and then hotel that goes down. And we think that the sign below says conditioned air. Not air conditioned, but conditioned air. I think that meant they had a fan, and it had the water system that ran through the building to cool it down, but I'm not sure.
I don't know.
Okay. But do you remember when the big letters went on top of the building that spelled out hotel?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, tell me about that.
Just big letters on top of it.
Were they always there as long as you can remember, or was that an addition? Because, see, I don't remember this sign. I've seen it in the pictures.
Well, I can't remember exactly, when I remember seeing it and when I remembered it not being there, which that's not a whole lot of help, but I do remember seeing it.
I always remember it because at least one letter was always burned out.
The E was always, and it was always hot L.
Hot L, right here. And during the, when it got into its decline and stuff, we all used to laugh about that. Now, someone tells the story about watching somebody shimmy up the corner of that building. I don't remember who calls in and tells that story, but that would be interesting to try to figure out the date on that and see what it was in the newspaper about that.
Here's a real way out there. In 1959, we had the Amigo Days in Cleveland, where the Cisco Kid came to Cleveland, and it was the downtown people competing against them opening up this new shopping center in this new street called Keith Street, and around the 1960s. So they were trying to combat that to keep the business downtown. And the Cisco Kid came around. He visited. And there's pictures of him down at Robert
Where's this
Easterly.
going, Ron?
And then he was with Lisa McMahon or Lisa Pemberton in the Spec Hotel. But anyway, he was riding in the parade, and he got there at the Cherokee Hotel, and he's standing there waving, and the traffic light about killed him. He's up on the float in the traffic light at the corner of the
gave him
Inman.
brain damage.
So I just thought I'd tell you that interesting story. I don't know why.
I think I think the interesting story here is that the Colonel Corn helped start the hotel
in Hardwick, C.L. Hardwick.
And C.L. Hardwick. But then Colonel Corn came down and started the village, too. Had a lot to do with it. So he was the one that almost took the business from the downtown. But it was time.
Well, it was first built, wasn't it? The tallest building in East Tennessee for several years, or
it was an icon.
It was competitive. I don't know if it was the tallest, but Chattanooga may have had some bigger things. But
yeah.
Neil, I told you led me astray last week. We talked about Couch's Barbecue, and he called in and said that when he goes down there, he loves the barbecue, so he has to have a barbecue, but he also loves their hamburger. So he orders a barbecue sandwich, and for dessert, he ordered a hamburger.
Oh, boy.
So guess what I did last Saturday?
Same.
And he blamed it on you.
Same thing.
I ate there twice this week.
Oh, my.
Well, when we were there Saturday, there were folks from Cleveland in there that had heard us talking about it all morning and had come in, so that's kind of fun, too. All righty, Mr. Neal, thank you so much, buddy, and thanks for sending me that stuff online. I just haven't had a chance to look at it yet.
Yeah, take a look at it. You might find it worthwhile,
I glanced at the picture and thought that's something I really need to look at.
Yeah.
Thanks,
All right,
Neil.
thanks.
Bye-bye. So we're going from 1880 to what time period?
About 1930.
Okay.
So that would get you. So what other businesses you listing? The movie theaters, the Cherokee. What else is included on there?
Well, we talk a little about the downtown businesses. So we talk about W.C. Ganaway and Son.
Oh, yeah.
We talk about Able Hardware Store. And we talk about some of the downtown.
We're going to do Able Hardware as a show here coming up.
Are you? That'd be great.
In
I bought my first
November.
Pee Wee Herman bicycle there.
Pee Wee Herman bicycle.
I did, yeah. I owned a Pee Wee Herman bicycle.
Wow.
Good morning, live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning, Ron. This is Lisa. And
Hey, Lisa.
I hate to call and disturb the show, but I have to correct you. The building you're in was Tots to Teens, the children's store, and Hobby Mart was next door where the ballet studio is.
I thought that was Cleveland Men's Store.
Cleveland Men's Store was on the corner where the Bald-Headed Bistro is now.
Okay.
I think.
You know what I'm pretty sure of, Lisa?
Yes.
They're all gone now.
But all
And they're not, the face on the buildings are not exactly the same.
Mm-hmm.
But and your nickname now is Smooth Rock.
I put a thing on Facebook requesting whoever posted that to get in touch with me, and they haven't. But a friend was obviously very confused, and she said, will this help? And posted a thing about making your own insect repellent. So, but I'm going to find that for you one day.
Well, you needed that after the Smooth Rock incident.
Yes.
Okay.
I would ask, but I'm not
No,
going to.
don't ask.
I'm
It was
gonna
a classic
go back
Old Town Cleveland moment.
Bye-bye. Smooth Rock is they had a study of what was the best thing to use in the woods if you did not have toilet paper.
Oh.
And Smooth Rocks won out. And I'm going,
I don't think it
better
would
than
taken,
Rough Rocks, I
think
would
I
say.
guess.
pretty much
but,
figured that one out without trying.
Good
It was
morning,
an interesting show.
Good morning, live on Old Town Cleveland.
Ron, I have a question.
Sure.
Oh, hey, Red.
Hey, who owns that Cherokee Hotel now?
The city, it's actually a federal government program because it's owned by Cleveland Housing Authority.
Well, why don't they go in there and clean it up?
You
we
would
don't
You would
know.
have to talk to Cleveland Housing Authority about that.
We don't know.
I know that there's a constant battle to keep this straight up, but it's low rent now, and they
Yeah, but it's eat up in bed bugs and roaches.
well, yeah, I think bed bugs problem everywhere in multiple housing now, and I know working close to them, they're working on that problem every day.
Yeah. Well, we agree with you, Red, but hey.
Yeah, we're very fortunate or unfortunate to still have the building here because it's built in 1925 and an old 7-story building without any major remodeling ever is
Rare.
Yeah, very rare.
Yeah.
Well, they ought to clean it up or tear it down. One of them people shouldn't have to live like that.
Yeah, you had to talk to Cleveland Housing Authority about that. I couldn't help you there.
I can do that.
All right.
Well, all right.
Bye.
But
Okay. our friend Deb that's really into doing the Cleveland registries, the directories.
Sure.
She's telling us some things here. She said C.C. Card purchased that property, and it was the original First Baptist Church property, I believe, on Inman Street for a garage in 1915.
Yeah, and the garage, they repaired the cars upstairs. You can still see the ramp where they drove up.
The cars were on display downstairs as you drove by. You saw them, but to get your car repaired, you drive up the ramp and up to the inside, which was kind of a common thing to do then. It seems kind of weird to us now, but
Go
it was
look at
common
that
then.
ramp. That was pretty weird to drive up that ramp too. It's a little
And it
narrow
looks-
concrete
yeah.
thing to shoot
That's pretty
straight
interesting,
up.
though.
Yeah. Good morning, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yes. My sister was born the day that the village had their grand opening.
Isn't that funny how you can remember things like that?
So she's 29 now, right?
No, she's 52.
Yeah. So,
So do you remember the old downtown when it was really busy?
Yeah, there used to be a five and dime down there.
Lay's?
Yeah. It had upstairs and everything.
Yeah, I believe that was the one that faced Inman Street. Not
Good.
Inman Street, Acoy Street.
good place to get your marbles.
And but I thought I would call in and let you know about my sister.
What's that date?
August the 10th of 61.
All righty, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for listening. But the CC Card property then was 1915, and then also she said that the Cleveland National Bank building, where it says Cleveland National Bank on that big concrete building, it was rebuilt 2 or 3 times, but it was basically in that same location, and that the cigar company eventually moved to the Hardwick building, which I think is still standing.
Yeah. Good morning, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
What's going on, Ron?
Oh, not much.
How was your trip to Talladega?
It was very, very good. It was a long day, but a lot of fun.
It can be a real long day, but you're going to love that race tomorrow.
Yes, yeah. It's of course, you've been down the pitch. You don't see as much race as you see everything else going on.
You know, having Fast Eddie and Super Dave in our back seat for that 3-hour drive coming and going kind of reminded us of the days when we had teenagers that sat in the back seat that argued.
Oh, did y'all act like parents then?
Yeah, we were getting pretty tickled at them.
They were calling each other on their cell phones in the back seat.
I would have dumped them out.
Yeah, we tried several times.
We tried several times. Hey, Arnold, what can you tell us about downtown that you've either read or you know?
Well, a lot of it is just stuff that I remember. Actually, I remember going to the Mark Theater for my very first movie, and it was Bambi, believe it or not, when I was real little. And my Aunt Hazel took me to that movie, and when we left it, we went back and rode the bus back over to where we used to live.
Arnold, let me interrupt you just a second. I meant to go ahead and announce this. There's a drill going on up in Charleston today, folks, for Olin and Valker. So if you hear sirens or if you hear crazy things going on up there, it's just a drill. Okay, Arnold,
just
go ahead.
get in your car and drive down to the Apple Festival downtown, and then visit the museum.
Then go to the museum first, and then go over to the Apple place. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's all right. There's somebody I actually work with that lives up close there, and I wouldn't be surprised if something crazy going on up there anyway.
Now, Arnold, I need you totally off the subject now. What happened last night?
Bradley come out and just absolutely did. They played like they played in the Polk County game first half.
Uh-huh.
And that was basically it. Standifer was a little bit hurt, and he was just off. The receivers couldn't catch a cold, and you know, it was one of those nights.
Not a good night.
Yeah. Well, the final was
not nice.
28-8.
28-8. I don't know any better way to describe it.
Well, you know, we were driving back from Talladega there, and I kept calling Dusty, says, "What's the score?" And he said, 14-0. I go, "Oh, is Bradley winning that?" And he said, "No, it's 14." Then he said, "Wait a minute, it's 21-0. It's halftime." I went, "Oh my gosh!" So then third, it was 28. So that long night for the Bears.
It was a long night. It was a long night sitting there. The only good news is, I guess, for a lot of people, is that Brooke Copeland was named homecoming queen.
Mm-hmm.
So that was good for the Copelands and good for the school as far as that's concerned. But I wish they'd win the homecoming games too.
It would be nice, yeah. That probably knocks their chance of being in the playoffs out.
Maybe not. It just depends on how everything falls out. But now they're in a situation that they've got to win some ball games.
Well, they only got two more, Saudi and East Hamilton, I believe, and one of those is a state-ranked team, so they could be in trouble.
They've got to beat Saudi. There's no two ways about it.
And then it's an outside chance.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if they can't catch a cold.
That's a good one, Arnold. Arnold, you remember was Speck Hospital still around when you were a little boy, wasn't it?
It was there for just a little while that I can remember. I can actually remember going there and Mom going to a doctor in the area, and we wound up at the Speck Hospital for some little something, and I was sitting on the front steps at one point waiting for her to come out, which you wouldn't do today, leave a key sitting on the front porch or on the front steps of anywhere.
Mm-mm.
But I from the time that I was old enough to really get out and go, I wandered all over downtown as a kid in early teens. Mom worked downtown for a while for Newton Metzger and Lois Todd and a couple of different places. And I hit every lunch bar there was in town in the summertime.
I wonder when the lunch bars started. What restaurants were around really early, Lisa? Did you find any?
No, I really didn't concentrate on that, but it'd be really interesting to find out.
Well, all the the Dooley's drugstore, then Central Drug and Moore Pharmacy, they all had lunch counters.
Lunch counters.
Yeah.
But I'm not sure that they had them in 1930.
And then the Spot,
No, well, the Spot was right after 1930.
In 30.
It's pretty much in that era. And it was a different sort of spot than what we see today.
Right.
Oh, a lot different, yeah.
And one other thing that's kind of interesting right there, too, is seldom gets mentioned a whole lot, is the restaurant that's actually in the Cherokee, too.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
So, I presume that it was probably built at the same time the hotel was built, but I don't know for sure, but it's always been a restaurant.
Well, Claude Holmes' aunt, I believe, and I don't know her name, and Claude's in his 90s, and a few years back, I know that she was still alive. She was a waitress there for years and years and years and years.
And Mike Lawson's grandmother was the cook there.
And Willie Gregg's grandma washed the dishes worked in the kitchen in the back, because Willie would stand on
the economy moving
fruit crate and wash dishes.
Oh.
And she talks about washing dishes for her grandma. And Ron's uncle used to haul a coop full of live chickens up here every Saturday morning and sell them to the cook at the Cherokee Hotel, which would proceed to process them.
Alrighty.
Fresh food.
So it's just hard to imagine
and
those
feathers,
things.
and they use feather beds.
No.
That's just a little.
Stop it.
I don't believe that.
What else, Arnold? Go ahead. We're listening.
The reason I really called in to start off with was discussing the ownership of the Summit. I don't think that's Cleveland Housing Authority.
Who owns it now?
I think it's privately owned.
Oh, is it? And then they've got a lease with the housing then, right?
Yeah, I think it's privately owned, and I'm not exactly sure all the mechanics, but I know that property is on the tax rolls, and it would not be on the tax rolls if it's operated by Cleveland Housing Authority.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So
that's good to know.
All righty. Thank you, Arnold. I think it costs Lisa, did you find a figure of how much it cost to build it?
No, actually, I didn't.
I think it was $125,000.
It was.
I read that one time. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
I mean, it was something like that.
Yeah.
Right.
Which was at a phenomenal amount of money in 1925.
And they raised all the money. They didn't borrow any money. They raised the money and built it.
Well, obviously they built it pretty solid.
Yeah.
Yeah, still around.
Well, they built everything solid back in those days. They don't,
They don't skimp now.
All right, Arnold.
It's only a recent thing just to build something just to last for a few years so they can move somewhere else in just a few years anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, guys, y'all have
Thank
a good
you.
show.
Thank you, Arnold.
Later.
Arnold's a good source of who owned what when.
Oh.
He works at the assessor of properties.
Oh, it's good to have that kind of information.
We've got our friends from the museum here today. Let's get this caller.
Good morning. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Hello, Ron and Debbie.
Hey, Miss Ella. How are you?
Hey, Miss Ella.
Well, I'm okay, but them guys are still up on the hill, and I want to know who to call to get them out of my hair.
They're in your hair.
Yeah.
Use a brush. What guys on what hill?
They're up there sitting under that tree with their shirt off, and I think I think they're sexy, but they're crazy. They're driving me nuts.
Well, you shouldn't stand in the window with your shirt off.
Well, I don't.
Well, that's what they're sitting on top of the hill for.
Don't do that, Ron.
Okay. Not often, right?
No, I never do that.
Well, I go back to Cleveland Housing Authority, give Miss Ellen a call. Call Billy over at maintenance.
What's that number?
I don't know their number off the top of my head. Call for Billy Berger at maintenance.
Billy Berger.
Billy Berger, right. He'll be glad that I give him your name.
I'm not sure there's
He may have some
violation
extra
of sitting outside of the
He may have some shirts he can loan them.
I say just
And
close the curtains, Miss Ella, and look the other way.
If you'll wait just a little bit longer, it's going to get cold, and I think this problem's going to take care of itself.
I don't know about that. I don't know. They sit out there from 6 o'clock in the morning until dark.
Okay.
And it scares me.
There must not be young guys in.
I don't know who they are, but I'm tired of it. I'm fixing to go to California the 22nd. And I'm going to get out of here a while.
All right.
Thanks,
Well,
Miss Ella.
you call Housing Authority and ask for Billy Berger Monday.
Oh, my. Thank you, Miss
All right,
Ella.
bye-bye.
Bye-bye, dear. Bye.
Danny might do it.
Who?
A cop named Danny.
There
That'd
you
be
go.
good, too.
Yeah. They call it Danny Rent-A-Cop around here.
Well, you like I say, you call Billy Berger. He'll take care of it for you.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.
Bye.
Billy may kill me tomorrow, but
Lisa, did you find a lot of new bills in the downtown area when you were doing the studies? I think that was a good time that people were changing from wooden buildings because we'd had all the big fires in the early 1900s.
Right, and that was a big thing was the creation of the volunteer fire department, and then just a few years later it became full-time.
That
There's
is
some-
a big creation.
there's some huge arguments over fire departments from 1920 to 1940. I mean,
Right.
they were, and the police department. I mean, you go back and read some of the minutes, it is it is wild. It just like today with Mayor Rowland. Good morning, you live on Old Town Cleveland.
Hey, this is Dennis Stafford. The old man knows a lot about downtown.
Hey,
Well, tell us,
Dennis,
Dennis.
talk to us.
Hey, if I were to start there at the old Woolworth's place and go to Jimmy Law's head shop, and across the street was Harshbarger Stratton, I can take you all the way through town. But
Go ahead.
you were talking about C.C. Card's shop there. And at one time, it's my understanding that the car that John Kennedy got killed in was upstairs, may still be up there where that ramp was.
The Lincoln Continental that he was assassinated in?
Elios, some guy.
Apparently I need to go up there.
Yeah.
That one time there was we were up there because Denford Jones had a studio across the street from the police department.
He did.
And right behind that was the garage where C.C. Card was.
Yeah.
Ramp. And I used to wonder, quite, as a young man, how in the heck they got those cars up that ramp if they had to work on.
Yeah, that's what I thought too.
It was steep. I mean, you
Pull them up.
that ramp.
They got pushers, just like
I mean,
NASCAR.
Yeah, like in NASCAR, they
you know,
pushed them.
you're right. The ramp, it isn't real long. It's a short ramp, so it goes straight up.
Ooh.
45 degrees was the angle on it.
Yeah.
To walk up, if you had on slick shoes, you'd slide down. It's amazing how they got that done. But
I hope they wouldn't work on brakes.
really, it was amazing how they could just even get them up there. But anyway, if C.C. Card's daughter, I think, married a guy named Helios.
Yes.
Yes.
And
Lilios.
He wouldn't know about.
I don't know. They have in recent weeks and days or months and years been cleaning up and painting and refurbishing, thankfully, that beautiful old building. So I'm sure they've cleaned it out. And I know that
I don't think they would have moved that car. It's been up there. I mean, I can remember back in the 70s.
Well, Ron will investigate that and see what we can find out.
I believe the Lincoln that he was shot in was there. I think CC bought that car. But I mean, you can check it out. I don't know, but I know that we went up there and looked at a car that would be a whole lot like it, or looked a whole lot like it. Different idea. You might check with a lady else just to find out.
All righty. Well, thank you for that little
you so
tidbit.
Okay. See you guys.
Bye-bye. I know that someone else was telling us, and I won't say who.
Oh, go ahead.
Well, there's a lot of the old signs from downtown Cleveland that are still around, but they're in those up in those loft buildings that no one has used it for years.
Where all the treasures are, and I can't get to them.
Right.
Yeah, well, I know where you're talking about one place. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. This is Larry Ledford. I got a little information.
Hey, Larry, go ahead.
Talking about. That's not the car that Kennedy was killed in.
Couldn't have been.
Station wagon that his wife bought after he died.
Okay, so it was a car out of the Kennedy family.
Yes, it belonged to Jacqueline Kennedy.
Where is it now?
Well, that's been about 15 years since I saw it, but it was up there then. I'm sure it's gone now.
So what kind of car was it, Larry?
I'm thinking it was a Buick or something like that. It was, a nice car, but not a luxury car or anything like that. But they had that. They also had that old T model that cars had to start with,
Where is it now?
Well, I have no idea, but they were stored upstairs there.
It was in the,
it's still in that family, I think.
It was in the car dealership for a long time.
Yeah.
For a long time, when they left South Lee Highway, it sat in the showroom down there even after it became a body shop, I believe. I think they kept it on down there for a long time, but it's gone now.
Yeah. And talking about Cherokee Hotel, my grandfather, he was a painter, L.C. Michaels, his name, and he worked on that hotel when it was new back in the 20s. And also, back in 1967, I believe it was, we repainted all the windows on the hotel up there. And we had to, they used what they call window jacks to paint the actual windows. And
now, how would a window jack work?
Okay, it was a piece of wood. It kind of reminds you of a sawhorse, but it would stick through the window, and it was braced so it couldn't fall out the window. And it had a thing at the bottom there to hold it away from the wall, and you could get out there and sit on it. Well, the tricky part was getting out there on it, I never did use it, but some of the other guys did. And one of the painters was working, and he got around there by himself. The other painter was on the other side of the building. He got the window down, and he painted it. He couldn't get it back up. And he tried and couldn't get back up. He about ready to stand up on that thing and take his foot and kick the glass out. And finally, he tried one more time and they would get it up. And at that time, they had that little college up there on North Lee Highway up there. They was a bunch of students rented rooms.
Tomlinson College.
Yeah, it's up there on the left, But anyway, these students, they lived in those rooms up there, and they wasn't supposed to cook or anything. And they would go to the store there, I guess, cooks and get stuff and fix sandwiches and things. And to keep them getting caught with garbage in the room, they'd pull everything out the window. And they would hit down there on the top of that, where the jewelry store used to be. There's a flat roof up there. And it made all this meshes. And you look out there, there'd be pickle jars, rope, and packs of where lunch meat had been, and loaves of bread, and just a big mess, While we were up there, there were still a lot of salesmen that traveled and would stop at the hotel, And they had a really small parking lot there, and it was marked, reserved for customers only. And we'd park off the street, but one day one guy came out there and there was a car parked right next to his, and he couldn't get out. And he asked us, "Does that car belong to any of y'all?" We told him no. And he said, "Well, I can't get out of there." He said, if I back out of there, my bumper's going to scratch the side of his car. And he said, "I checked with the front desk, and nobody knows who it belongs to." And so they just somebody, grabbed the parking space. And finally, he just backed out. Boy, he put a big scratch inside that car and went on, Which can't blame him.
Thought you was going to tell me y'all picked it up and moved it or something.
Pushed it.
Pushed it like in NASCAR.
All we did was working around there. We would take drop sawhorses and a rope and make us put a little sign. We'd block off, if you dropped the paint or anything, it wouldn't hit a car or anything. And then people would come in and see them things, and they'd stop their car and get out and move them, and then pull in there and park the place, And anyway, we just guess we'll quit worrying about the paint as they drop on the cars.
Oh, my God.
Maybe they'll learn a lesson.
No, maybe.
Thanks, Larry. Please call back.
Okay, I will.
All right, thank you. I always love to hear from Larry because he's full of information. Folks, an hour has already passed, and our guests have barely gotten to talk at all, but that's okay. We love our callers. We love our listeners. You guys get your stories ready. We'll be back with you in just a few minutes.
WOOP LP, Cleveland, Tennessee.
Debbie Moore, co-host of Whoops Old Town Cleveland, has released a regional history book, Confederate Voices. The book is available at the Red Ribbon, the Museum Center at Five Points, and at www.oldtowncleveland.com. And be sure to tune in every Saturday morning at 10 for Old Town Cleveland, right here on Whoop FM.
Check into cash.
When you got a Money Mayday and can't wait till payday, get cash fast at Check Into Cash. You don't need a check to get a cash advance. You can get cash fast at Check Into Cash. Call 877-262-CASH. We're licensed and regulated by the state. We can guarantee you'll get a great rate. Apply online. Don't hesitate. Get cash fast at Check Into Cash.
Get on down. Check into cash.
Hang on. Wheeler Technologies has moved. Visit them at their new location at 490 Grove Avenue Southwest next to Bradley Rentals. Same great folks, same great service with a better location to serve you. Call Wheeler Technologies for voice, data, and security needs at 664-TECH. That's 664-8324. And remember, depend on Wheeler Technologies for the current time and temperature every day at 476-1111. Tennessee Alarm Contractor C1750.
You save when you buy from the factory. Now you can save even more while we celebrate the grand opening of our new store on the North Shore in Chattanooga. Plus, we'll pay your sales tax on Mermaid products $6.99 or more.
Kiesler Incorporated is in the business of recycling your metal, and they pay cash. The only covered scrapyard around where you can recycle rain or shine. They're located off the bypass on Overhead Bridge Road. Automobiles, appliances, copper, stainless steel, tin, all metals can be recycled at Kiesler, and you can walk away with cash. That's right, they pay cash, and they are the friendliest scrapyard in the Southeast. If you have unwanted metal just laying around, bring it to Kiesler Recycling today and walk away with cash. Kiesler Recycling open Monday through Saturday, 7:30 to 5, or call for more details, 614-3000.
Dr. Christopher Chase, with Associates in Plastic and Reconstructive Surgery, now in Cleveland on Wednesdays at 2350 Ocoee Street. Call 624-0021 for an appointment now. Certified by the American Board of Surgery and the American Board of Plastic Surgery. Offering facial procedures, body contouring, skin resurfacing, and specializing in breast augmentation, including the newest transumbilical or belly button augmentation for less scarring, ladies. Call Dr. Christopher Chase for an appointment now, 624-0021.
Gorgeous day in store for your Saturday. Partly sunny skies with a high this afternoon near 70 degrees. Overnight tonight, clear and chilly with lows around 39. Partly to mostly sunny skies again on Sunday with highs in the upper 60s. That's a look at your weather forecast here on Whoop FM. You're listening to 99.9 Whoop FM. Check us out online at whoopfm.com and enjoy great classic country and bluegrass favorites right here all day on 99.9 Whoop FM.
Bring back the good times. I miss the sunshine.
You are listening to WOOP LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. Whoop FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
Where'd the old town go? They moved it all north of here in a shopping mall.
Welcome back to Old Town Cleveland here on Whoop FM 99.9, or you can go to the internet at www.whoopfm.com. You can call us here at 614-5553. We're talking about the new exhibit opens up this Friday to the public at the Museum Center at 5 Point here in Cleveland.
Right on.
I wouldn't call it the Cleveland Museum.
No.
Well,
you can call it whatever you like. Just show up.
Just
right?
show up, that's
Sure.
right.
But now
Just say the
Thursday
right
night
address.
is a real special night too. At 6 p.m. Members only get in early, and we really like to go to those members only things. First of all, it's a nice little crowd, and you get to see the exhibit before everybody else gets to see it. And again, it's a smaller number of people, so you can actually look at everything closely and ask questions. And usually someone speaks a little bit about the exhibit.
Usually Lisa.
Usually Lisa.
It'll probably be Lisa, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be me.
So we went to the first time you did one, and you did a very good job.
Thank you.
So now you're a veteran.
And actually, we went to two things. We went to the initial opening, and then we came back and saw the thing about the press.
Oh
Oh,
Or
yeah, the
machine-
linotype.
Yeah, thank
Yeah.
you. Did you go to that with me?
Yes.
Yes,
Yes, I did.
and it was very interesting.
Yeah.
And very well done.
Okay,
No.
tell us,
Documentary.
tell us when the exhibit starts and how long it runs.
This one will be up, like you said, the members opening is this Thursday at 6 p.m., members only. If you're not a member, just call us, get a membership, come by, get a membership, come by the night of, we'll give you a membership. And that's a great perk that we do for our members. We want our members to see it first. And then at Friday, it opens to the public. This exhibit will run until January 4th, I believe. And that's it. I mean, it's we've got some associated programming going on in the meantime. I'll tell you about.
All right.
The block party is coming up here. A
Big.
couple. Well, it's not even a couple weeks. It's just
Week and a half
2 weeks
away.
Yeah. And so on the night of the block party, we're going to do a silent movie on the back lawn.
Oh,
We're
wow.
going to show Nosferatu.
All right.
Has anyone seen
I'm
that?
not familiar with that.
Yes, it's.
Do I have to spell it to get in?
No, you do not.
Okay, all right, then
That's
I
a good
can come,
thing.
yeah.
No, it was. It's a silent movie that was released. It's filmed in 21 and released in 1922. And I would imagine a movie like this would have played in the theaters that were here in Cleveland.
Yeah.
And it's basically it's a take off of Bram Stoker's Dracula. But since they couldn't get the rights to Bram Stoker's Dracula, they made their own version of it. So Nosferatu is like the Dracula character, and and then it's all subtitled. It's got orchestral music, an orchestral score, but it's still a little creepy. I mean, for a silent movie from
sounds
1922,
They had
interesting.
to try really hard back then.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to show it outside, and we've got the big inflatable screen that we're going to use. So it's open to the public.
Inflatable screen.
Yeah.
Explain that to me.
Well, it's
You blow
we
air
just-
into it. and-
Well, I mean,
I'm not going to blow it up. I mean,
Lisa's going to.
I need somebody with a lot of hot air.
Well, we can find somebody for that. But that's really interesting. And so that's just a free event. How long is that actual? Are you going to show the whole movie?
Yes, and in the newsletter, when our members get the newsletter, they'll see that there's no time. I put sundown. So as soon as it gets dark enough, which is a moving target every day now.
Will the time change be in effect the week before that?
After.
After.
Yeah,
Oh,
after
okay.
Halloween is the weekend after is when the time changes.
Oh, okay.
And so we'll probably start showing it 7:30, 7:45-ish, right when it starts to get dusk. So it's open to the public. We know the block party will be happening, and so we're not even going to try to, get people. But for our members that do come, there will be free popcorn.
There you go.
But they have to have their membership card because we don't. We're not going to look
free
it up.
popcorn. You got me hooked.
Yeah, but bring a blanket to come out, watch the movie. Should be pretty good. I've seen it before. It's and for parents out there who might be, well, I don't know if I'll bring the kids. It's not that scary. I mean, they might have nightmares about this guy later
For a day
on,
or two,
but,
like,
yeah,
yeah.
but not long.
Okay.
And so we've got our art festival coming up in November as well, and so we'll have 3 days of artists and craftsmen within a 200-mile radius, and that'll be on November 14, 15, 16. Thursday, December 5th, Ron Lowry, who recently released this wonderful book. It's called Tennessee River, Sparkling Gem of the South. He has this special plane that he's fitted in a way that he can take these wonderful aerial photographs. And so this book that he's put out basically documents all 652 miles of the Tennessee River as it flows through Tennessee.
Wow, that's
it's stunning photography.
That's a beautiful book.
It's available at the museum store, and he's going to talk about how he created the book and how he created the pictures the night of December 5th, and he also do a book signing. And the last thing on the calendar until our next newsletter comes out sometime in January is we're doing a New Year's Eve party this year.
Mm-hmm.
And I think we've already sold one ticket, and we haven't even advertised it yet. It came in the
So
other day.
how did your Flappers thing go? What was the name of it?
Well, I was just about to talk about that.
Okay.
Flappers
I want
and
to talk about
fedoras.
let me finish
Go
about
ahead.
the New
Go
Year's Eve. From what I understand, there's really nothing here to do in town on New Year's Eve.
Very seldom.
Not that's probably legal. We won't talk about that.
Mhm.
But we're having a wonderful little get together, and it's we're gonna have the Collins Brothers band out there, who I hear are quite popular.
Yes.
And it's going to start at 7:30, and it's going to go to a little after midnight at 12:30 a.m. It's $75 for members, $9 for non-members, but that comes with wine, beer, hors d'oeuvres all night, champagne toast at midnight, entertainment. You won't find a better deal than that.
And it's close to home.
And it's close to home. After you've tied on a few, call you a cab,
The cab.
or
Call you
bring
the
a
cab.
designated
cab.
driver. The cab.
No
Three
sleep.
cabs.
No sleeping bags though.
No.
No.
Okay.
no.
This is not
Sorry.
night at the museum.
No. Our annual gala, I think, was a great hit. We had
The pictures were fabulous.
we had a great time. The amount of people that came out in costume was just how do I put this? Entertaining. It was very entertaining.
We saw the suit that Perry
Oh,
Skates had
my
on.
gosh.
that was
He
great.
was dapper.
He was insanely dapper. If we were giving out awards for best dress, he would have won
He's
in the
always been
in the
like
male
that.
category. Yeah, I mean, very nice. I thought I looked good, and he made me look bad. But no, it was a great night, and it was a huge success. And Tom Johnson, who's our auctioneer that night, had a lot of fun with the auction items, and it was just a great night. We had to tell the band to quit playing. People were dancing until 12:15, and I think usually it's over at 11:30 is what I've
Give
been
or take,
told.
yep.
And so yeah, people were having a great
And
time.
who was the band?
Oh, the band. Who was the band? Gosh, I'm trying to. Let me think about it. Dexter Thomas.
Oh yeah, they're fabulous.
Oh, they were great.
They were worth whatever the charge was. To
They
get in.
played all the hits.
Yes, they're very good.
They even, I think, took a few requests.
Yeah.
Big John D. Jarrett, one of their lead singers, I played in the band with him many years
And he
ago.
still can sing.
And he's always just been an unbelievable singer.
Yeah, they were great. We had great weather that night, and we were outside dancing on the back patio back there. And Mr. Alan Jones provided one of his Packards out in front. We used it as a photo backdrop, and it fit the era. And it was just a great time, and we were able to raise a good chunk of change for the museum center. And so we're already trying to think of what the theme's going to be for next year. It'll be in September sometime. We'll make sure we're not overlapping some football game, and we'll have that date in the next couple months.
Just for a point of information, I looked online, and sunset now is at 6:58. So I'd say 7 o'clock would be a good time
Probably
to say.
7:30. 7:30 would be.
And next week on
Yeah.
this show, we're going to have our friend Jack Sanders back, and he's going to be talking about the Chattahoochee Valley and what a rich history for Bradley County that is. So I know everyone will want to tune into that.
His son owns the house that I want to own.
Yes.
It is. Oh my goodness.
Ron's already told me if I win the lottery, I'm owning this house.
All
Oh,
right.
it is beautiful. It's one of those old southern plantation homes, and
Something, Lisa, you might be interested in. Our friend Deb here says that Major Brown and Henry Howe in 1866 actually opened up an ice cream saloon, they're calling it.
Oh.
But she doesn't know what the location is. But I thought 1866, that's pretty
way
phenomenal.
early.
Because they
I think
introduced
it's an
Ice cream saloon.
They done-
I think it's a salon when it's ice cream in it.
Maybe.
But I thought that was pretty interesting. And I know that ice cream was introduced at the World's Fair, I think, one year. And I wonder what correlation we could find there about if it was close to the same time or
Well,
not.
you know, Mr. Mayfield, that's Mayfield Milk. He first started selling ice cream before he started selling milk.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, I think most everybody had their own cow and they had their own their own milk, but they may not had been able to make ice cream, and that's why it became popular.
Right.
All right, well, tell us about the exhibit, what all's going to be in there, what they expect to see. I mean, not everything, but, you know, pictures and drawings and
Ice cream was first sold in the U.S. in 1786.
Oh.
Wow.
Wow.
Yeah. Go ahead. Sorry. Point of useless information.
We've dug through some archives. We've got some great pictures. Of course, we're going to show about all the theaters, and you know, it's really hard to find a picture of the Bohemia. I found one, and you provided me one, which was the same one.
Yeah.
So I can't find anything else.
Now, my favorite story about the Bohemia is not any movie. Is everyone told us about the rats? They had large rats there, and at least as a little boy. Anyway, but they said all you had to do when you sit down with your popcorn, if you just give them an offering, give them all an offering, they'd come get your couple piece of popcorn. They go on to the next person. Now I don't know if that's true or not, but there's a lot of people told me that same story.
I think that would be a good Halloween prank there.
Sure.
Make people think that.
So
what else
don't
is
you love
going on
don't you love the history that I found?
You know, some of this, you know.
My favorite thing.
No one's alive that can argue with me.
My favorite thing from the museum is the quilt show. Are we doing it again this year?
We are. It'll be in January. We'll start accepting quilts, and it's actually, we're kind of narrowing it down our scope, and we're going to be focusing on hand quilting this year.
Hand quilting. Okay.
Yes.
So if somebody that's listening to us thinks that their great-grandma's quilt or grandma's quilt is very unique and they would like to have it on display there, what do they need to do?
Well, we're going to put up the rules and entry forms November 1st.
There we go.
So they can fill them all out, and we'll be accepting quilts the first week in January. So we're going to take the first 25 historic quilts, so your grandma's quilt, your great-grandma's quilt, and we're going to be taking 25 contemporary quilts, all hand-worked.
Those contemporary ones amaze me with the color schemes.
Especially when they all just hand-quilted them.
Yes.
Imagine how much time that takes.
All right, I want to throw a history question out to you.
Please.
November 1st, you know what day that is also?
Thursday.
I think you're right, but it's All Saints Day, and that's why we have All Saints Eve or
Halloween.
Halloween, or Ween was Even in Swedish, and so Halloween, and it's where there are two things. Is they had a festival because the apples were coming in this time of year, and then they celebrated the All Saints Day the next day, and Hallows, and the departed, the dear departed.
That's right.
But also the Druids and the Devils celebrated the night before because they had to have their own day or night before the Saints' days. So there's your little Halloween.
It's our Halloween trivia.
And when we come to this country, a lot of the Puritans wouldn't celebrate that because of the evilness to it.
Right.
And it wasn't until 1925 when Halloween became popular across the country. And that's when we...
He can't remember to take out the trash, by the way.
But he can get these great little tidbits of information.
I remember I didn't take it out. Yeah.
That sounds like a great potential project for someone wanting to participate in Tennessee History Day.
That's right.
Yes.
Which I will talk a little bit about that. That's something that the museum is hosting in February.
Go ahead.
And that's something that used to be done in another city here next to us, and now Cleveland is hosting it.
Yay.
And so our new curator of education, Joy Veenstra, started, I guess this is
2
weeks ago. And this is her first big project, is working with educators across our region here to get people ready for that at the museum. And so the people that win at our district level They go on to win at the state level, and then there's the National History Day. They go on to compete there. So those are projects that are written, that are web-based, that are theatrical in nature, that are reports. So any educators out there, if you're interested in having your students participate in Tennessee History Day, we have a great opportunity, since that'll be right here in Cleveland this year on February 22nd. And if you want to participate or want more information, call the museum and dial Joy. And I forget what extension she is, but you can go through the recording and leave her a message.
Yeah, and there's a lot of unique Tennessee history right here from Bradley County
absolutely.
that, and just the Cherokee Indian and the Trail of Tears, there's hundreds and hundreds of stories there that, and of course, now here's my gripe is that Charleston, Tennessee is probably one of the most historical communities and stories in the world, and there's not even a marker there, guys.
But we're getting there.
We're getting there, though.
We're getting there.
They're working on it.
Yep.
I went to the Tennessee History Day class for the teachers this summer, and they showed one of the winning entries from Tennessee. And a young girl up in Roane County had made a documentary about her parents and grandparents. They had been moved. TVA got them one time and they moved, and the road widening got them another time and they moved, and had her grandmother doing that primary source, like what Ron and I record all the time, information about that grandmother, talking about how it felt to be moved from that land so many times. So it's a really good project to entice children to get interested in history.
Victims of progress.
Yeah, well, progress is painful.
Good morning. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning.
Hey, Doug.
I wanted to tell about going to the Princess Theater. I remember that quite clearly.
Did you have a run-in with the rats?
No,
that's the Bohemian.
Oh, okay.
Go ahead, Doug.
We saw a lot of scary movies, Boris Karloff and Vincent Price.
Oh, yeah.
I got pretty scared writing that stuff. But I remember going with Fro Daddy's mom and dad and his older brother, who was close to my age, and watching The Russians Are Coming, The Russians Are Coming. I thought that's the funniest movie. Old Jonathan Winters, I really enjoyed that movie.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing, Ron mentioned the Cisco Kid coming. He spent the night at Alan Jones's house when he was here. You might think he would stay in the Cherokee Hotel, but he stayed at Alan Jones's house. It's a pretty big deal to have Cisco Kid spend a night with you.
Yeah. I would think so.
All my other memories about downtown revolve around the spot. And
Food.
And the Grand Lunch.
Oh, the Grand Lunch. What a great restaurant.
When I go in so-called restaurants now, fast food restaurants, they don't even know what fast food is, Until you've been to the original spot and the original Grand Lunch, you don't know anything about fast food. I mean, those people, they had it down to a science of getting your order placed before you within seconds. If it took a minute to get your food in the spot, there was somebody sick or something wrong. It was there in seconds, It's just amazing how efficient they were.
I never knew how Lyman knew I was going to need another cheeseburger.
Talk about all this food. It's almost lunchtime.
And Doug, what I was going to ask you that. Doug, you're the horse guy. What was the Cisco Kid's horse's name?
Oh, you got me wrong.
Diablo.
Diablo.
Ooh.
The devil.
Okay. I remember Poncho. Oh, Poncho.
Yeah.
That was his sidekick.
And
served breakfast back then too. A lot of people didn't know that. A lot of people didn't enjoy that, but I ate breakfast there quite a bit.
Yeah.
It was really good.
The Cisco's kid name was Ronaldo Duncan, but that wasn't his real name.
I do remember that.
His real name was Duncan Ronaldo. Just the opposite. He had changed it.
Saturday morning TV programs.
Yep, that was great. All right.
Thanks, Doug. Good to see you this morning.
Yes, thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Doug,
Someone
we had
asked,
breakfast this morning over at the diner on First Street. You ever been over there?
No.
Mm-mm.
Oh, it's good. They've got one of the best hamburgers in town.
Always be
Really?
ready
Like
to
you've
pay
told me that.
cash.
You can't eat that. You can't go there.
It's one of those itty-bitty places that you have to pay for cash most of the time.
Good morning. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Ron,
Yeah.
Hey.
I can remember riding the bus from Ooltewah up to the bus station up in Cleveland and going to the old Princess Theater. My grandmother lived right down the street there behind the new bus station.
Mm-hmm.
the old bus station was there on the corner, right there by the spot where I guess that.
In some of the old pictures, you can see the bus sign hanging there.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is this Eddie? Who is this?
Bob Gill.
Bob Gill. Okay, Bob, go ahead.
But I can remember riding it, and it cost you $0.25 to ride the bus from Ooltewah up there. That was a real
big money.
ticket then. And we'd ride the bus up there and watch the movie if we didn't spend the night with grandmother down there on the south of the new bus station. But where the forks of the road is now, down there in South Cleveland.
Right.
What's the name of that road that comes up through there?
Ocoee.
Ocoee Street. Ocoee Street. Well, she lived right there just before you get to the fork where that beer joint used to sit right there in the
Penny's.
Penny's sandwich shop.
Yeah.
Yep, sandwich shop. Excuse me.
Yeah.
Yeah, where you could buy beer.
Yeah, I was.
I'm not sure they served sandwiches in there, but they.
Yeah, you could probably go in there and you'd have to carry a gun to a knife fight in there or whatever.
That's right.
But anyway, we used to sit on the porch there and we'd walk uptown, but my uncle, Swan Chambers, laid on the Firestone Tire Store side of the old Cherokee Hotel there.
Mm-hmm.
There is a banister that goes around where that guy was talking about him throwing that garbage out on the roof. There was a brick banister there, and he laid all of that brick in there. And
I think the wall's still
my
there.
dad's 97 years old, and he was carrying mortar and brick for my uncle up there. And when they was laying that brick, he went to dinner and never did go back to work. Not killed him.
I think that just walking up and down the stairs would kill me, much less carrying brick.
Anyway, I just thought in the old Labels Hardware, I got my first shotgun in the old Labels Hardware. And that's when the old wooden floors and everything was in there. But
Yeah, we're going to have them on, we hope, in a couple of weeks. It's dependent on a work schedule that hasn't been made yet. So they're going to be here sometime in November, we're sure. Well, thanks, Bob. It's always good to hear from you, buddy.
all right, bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
All right, I've got a question that I don't know the answer to. So, who owned the Princess Theater? Did you find that in your research?
I didn't.
I don't know who owned the Bohemia, or I don't know who owned any of the theaters here in town.
The Johnstons were involved way back with the theaters.
Now,
J. Hardy Johnston closed the Ocoee Theater, and it was. I mean, we're talking back early.
Was just actors back then. I don't think there was any movies.
Yeah, Hardy Johnson and O.L. McLean owned the Moneta, and they spent $2,500 on furnishings back then, 1913.
And how wonderful we still have the projector from there.
Right.
That's inside the bank.
Yeah, and the piano.
And the piano.
And the piano both.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And the, I don't know who owned the Princess, but it cost $100,000 to build and construct.
Well, now we know.
So you got a 7-story building for the Cherokee costing $125, and you got the Princess for $100.
And the great thing about the pictures, like the one that Ron has up now, of the early years of the Princess, you can see the cars next door, so you can kind of date it.
Right.
But at some point in time, we see the Princess Theater, and there's a cement mixer, a little handheld one next door, and the old cars, and so we can pretty much date it too. I was just checking with someone online. That's the only Bohemia picture I've ever seen.
Me too.
Yeah. And it's not a real good one. And
No,
the
it's
people up
not.
on the
And we don't know. We don't know why they're there.
looks like a band if you look real close. Good morning, you're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Hi, I'm eavesdropping.
Okay.
Hey, Vicky, what's up, sister?
Oh, Mama's having a fit. She recognized y'all's voice, and she'll say, "That's my baby."
Yeah, I hope she's doing better. She had quite a fall this week.
She looks terrible, but she is better.
Don't talk about your mama like that.
Well, she looks like she's been in a bar fight is the bad news. The good news is nothing's broken.
That's great, yeah.
What do you remember?
Oh, I remember Mama taking us to the village, to the opening of the village, and buying us all little rings. And do you remember Linda Stevenson Brown working at Crescent?
I do. She worked there for a good number of years.
Mm-hmm. And I wanted to talk about the museum. Do they still have that free pass once a month?
No, I don't think they do that anymore.
We do not.
Okay. But I went there to see the American Pickers, and I always enjoy going to the gift shop, but I spend too much money when I go in there. But
So does the staff.
So
believe it or
yeah,
not.
we do too.
We spend
They
way too
really
much.
loved us when this summer they had a 2 or 3 day conference there for the Trail of Tears from, I mean, there were people from New York and all kinds of places, Georgia. We were there for 2 or 3 days, and it was really a good time for the gift shop. And then last week when I was in Hopkinsville, Kentucky, a lady was standing next to me in an elevator, and I said, well, I love your scarf. And she said, I got this in a little town called Cleveland, Tennessee at the Museum Center.
That's what we like to hear.
And Hewlin Dunn is our new museum store manager, and if you haven't been there in a while, it looks completely different.
Yeah,
He's
I've
rearranged the
seen it.
entire place.
Yeah. Vicky,
I don't see how it looks any better. It always is in good shape and always has nice and unusual stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, stuff you can't find anywhere else. Good local, regional stuff. And, of course, my books are there and my
There you go.
DVD.
There's a plug.
There's a plug.
Shameless.
And I got a lot of phone calls and text messages on the show that we all done together. And
Well, I will tell you right now, we've been putting our shows on YouTube, and they're on the Whoop website both. And the very first 30 hours that we had that show posted, we had 50 or 60 people watch it, which was amazing, to us.
I think it's at 68 now, so which is a big people.
number.
Yeah, it is. I think our biggest show is the snake handling churches, and it's just hard to deal with.
It's hard to beat
yeah.
snake handling churches.
That's true.
You need to do an exhibit about that with live exhibits and things.
Ooh, that'll
Vicky,
be
we'll-
Joy's problem.
I don't know if our insurance policy covers that sort of thing.
And you know what? There are actually people doing that. We can get those people for you.
I
That's
bet you can.
true.
And then
Back lawn.
And then that night have cockfighting in the back.
Yeah, there
Right.
you go.
Oh my.
Sure.
Okay, Vicky, did you
Big
have something
crowds,
else you
big
wanted
crowds.
to tell
And a
us?
demolition derby.
I've lost control this morning.
down where the Sugar and Spice was, right across the road, that big 2-story building.
Yes.
It was a funeral home.
It was a funeral home, and then it was the Cedar.
It was Cedar Lane first, and then the funeral home, wasn't it?
It was Cedar Lane Funeral Home. No, Cedar Lane Restaurant, and then it was the funeral home, because they had painted across the top, for those big aerial pictures.
Hot biscuits or something.
Hot biscuits and country ham, and then when they put up the funeral home sign, it said mortuary, and then it said hot biscuits and ham was painted on the roof. So we didn't think that was very good advertising then.
Oh, that made me hungry.
Hopefully the hot biscuit and ham part.
Yeah, right.
The hot biscuit and ham. Well, I just thought I'd call and let
Hey.
Mama's listening, and she's tickled.
Well,
Vicky-
tell her we'll play her a song when we go off there.
Hey, Vicky, what movies did you see at the Princess? Elvis movies?
Well, I went to see
Viva Las Vegas.
Vegas. That's it. And Mom even went with us, and then I went to see a lot of years earlier than that. Went to see Journey to the
The center of the earth.
Mm.
And I also remember the day the Cisco Kid came to town. I believe that was our most famous movie star, wasn't it?
Well, what's so
At
funny,
that point in time, yes.
Vicky, I had given the folks that are making the big murals for the big collages for Jenkins Deli all access to all the pictures that we have at Old Town Cleveland. And ironically, it includes the picture of me being 2 or 3 years old standing in front of Diablo's horse trailer when the Cisco Kid came to town.
Oh, that's great.
Those little chunky legs.
Because that was an exciting day. I can remember it real well. I can remember it. So.
Well, thanks, Vicky, for... Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Yeah, but we've had Jerry Mathers here now. Leave it to Beaver.
Oh,
He's
yeah.
been to Cleveland, yeah. And Eddie Haskell was with them, and so that's, you just don't get much better than that.
Tell us about the benefits of membership, the % offs.
Oh my goodness, have y'all used that yet?
We haven't used it.
I
need to
used
use
it
mine.
the other day.
I
I
use
was
it
at
all the time.
Yeah, basically what the staff did is they went to all the places they like to eat close to the museum, and we never have to pay full price on anything again.
All right.
And so museum members, if you just take your valid, not out of date membership card.
I think ours is valid through November 1.
Yeah, to any of these places. Bond Life Coffee, 10% off coffee there. Cafe Roma, 10% off your entire purchase.
Ooh, that's
The
good.
Catch, 10% off the purchase. Cobblestone, same thing. Hatter Hangouts, a local quilt shop on First Street Square, 10% off there. Jack's Clean Right, all 3 locations. They're right next to the museum. That's where I take my dry cleaning.
Well, I took mine the other day and didn't get my 10%, did I?
Well, it's 10% off of dry cleaning, not laundry.
Well, that's a dry cleaning.
Well, you better get on her about
Show
that.
your museum card.
I have to show them my card next time.
Yeah, the spot, you buy one milkshake, get one free. Can't beat that.
Oh.
And that's
mistake.
totally worth it.
So now
You must go get a milkshake.
Can I drink both of them?
Why not?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I know I can't anymore.
At Trailhead Bicycle Company, you get 10% off there, or a free tube with a tune-up.
There you go, Ron.
And so I
need
think we might be
that.
adding a few more,
Yeah,
a
that's
few more to
good.
that list. But I mean, yeah, I mean, just in the past
helps.
couple weeks alone, I mean, yeah, it pays off pretty quick.
Well, we don't know. Deb doesn't know who owned the Princess, but she says in 1929, the Chamber of Commerce commended Mr. R.D. Page for selecting only good, clean pictures or vaudeville acts for the Princess.
That's right.
I saw Cool
I
Hand
saw
Luke
that.
here. That was pretty radical now. Good morning, live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yeah, this is T. Bandy.
Hey, T, got a fish truck today?
We got a fish truck to 26,
Okay, and give them your number so they know who to call.
478-2405.
2405, okay.
Yeah, do you have Couch's barbecue number?
No, I don't.
He was going to order some fish from it, but I've not heard from him.
Okay, well, I'm sure it's in the Chattanooga directory.
Yeah, it's in Chattanooga directory.
Okay.
Thank you. All right. For all you guys that have ponds that need to be stocked, you can call T. Bandy to order fish to be picked up next Saturday, 478-2405.
T used to drive for a company called Bunny Bread.
Oh, yeah.
And delivered to houses.
And they actually delivered bread to your house. I thought that was the neatest thing in the world. Good morning, live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yeah, how many volunteers do you have at the museum?
Oh, quite a bit. Trying to put a number on
And
it.
I'm sure they're always looking for
Always
more.
looking for more.
Yeah, we've got quite a bit. You know, they help with the front desk, help in the store. Some that help with our education programs.
Okay, I'll stop in and check it out.
Yeah.
Well, come in. Volunteer. Yeah.
Thanks.
So how many paid employees do you have?
6.
6 paid employees.
How many working employees do you have?
1.5.
Thank
They're
you.
They're right here.
Boy, boom, walked right into that one. Which one's a half? Which one's the one? Then.
Well, these last 2 weeks, it's been me. After the exhibit opens, I'll take a little break.
Hey,
Now
and
with,
if you haven't been to the museum, earlier this year you remodeled that front area
Yeah.
up there so
We
that you can
did.
have special exhibits.
How many square feet do you think that is?
Ooh, I don't know.
Yeah.
Quite large, actually. We were
2,000?
surprised at how big it was going to be.
It's not 2,000 square feet.
No, it's at least maybe 1,000.
Okay.
At least.
Sure.
It's it'd be.
And the stuff that used to be there was nice, but it was time for it to move on.
Agreed.
And
Most
you
of it was
opened
wasted space.
and
Yeah.
it was wasted space. And
Yeah.
now every few months you can put a new display, like the one you just Cleveland Works, and now we have Building Cleveland Up.
Mm-hmm.
And thank you for doing what y'all are doing.
Members come Thursday and the public comes starting on Friday. Go ahead, caller. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yes, sir. I'd like to ask one of you, as a fence member who used to deliver the milk and leave the little glass bottles along your doorsteps.
There was a lot of people that delivered milk in glass bottles. I know the Hoopers did, and
What was right across over there, right in near Forked Lightning?
Mr. Dugan.
There was, well, of course, Dooley's had it, and then there's another one right up
Dugan.
there. Yeah, Creamery.
The Cleveland Creamery. There were a lot of little milk people until there, at some point in time, the health issues made it too hard for the individuals to deliver. But you can still find the little milk seals, those little cardboard milk seals from creameries all over town. I know the McCulleys which were in my family. There's we can find those seals from
And
them.
of course, then Mayfield started was the big
Pasteurizing.
and then became the big bottler, and then eventually, of course, took over the market.
They just started buying the milk, raw milk.
Yeah.
Which was very interesting. I remember I used to get them when I was a little boy. I heard them come out and broke one time. My mama got onto me, but I stepped on it. But that was back in the 50s or 60s, I believe. When I used to get them. But I think late 50s, early 50s.
I think Did you ever have ice delivered at your house, Bullet?
Oh, we just go around Wildwood and get it.
Just go get it. Yeah, kind of like coal. When you got a small amount of it, you had to go pick it up.
Yeah, we used to go at that. Used to have ice cream on Wildwood, I think, over there.
Okay. Thank you, Bullet.
You know, we talk about the early movie theaters. They were, in 1925. I guess I wasn't there then. It was 30 before I got here. It was, I guess it was still silent films right around 25. And when did the first talkies come in? I don't remember.
I used to know that off the top of my head.
Well, we know that there was a piano in both The Princess and the
Right, they had
Monita.
live acts and vaudeville acts
and
all
they
that good stuff.
they brought in big acts
Mhm,
too.
they did.
And we had Tom Thumb here. Little Tom Thumb
And,
actually was here in Cleveland.
And the
There's
Craig
pictures
Mile,
of him.
Craig Mile Hall was a opera house, but it also had John Philip Sousa.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Came here. And matter of fact, do you know the theme song of Cleveland is written by John Philip Sousa? Did you know we had a theme song?
I had no idea.
We have an official song for the city of Cleveland, and hope Mayor Rowlands, he can call us and tell you. You can actually find it online, but it's not used a lot, but it is the official song of the city of
If we
Cleveland.
knew we had
Really?
one, we might use it.
I know.
And it's a march. Surprise,
John
surprise.
Philip Sousa, yeah.
Well, I can just envision either the music department at the university or that great big band department up at Walker Valley High
We
School.
need to find out what that song is.
I would hope they would know. Maybe
Early
maybe
30s
this
for
person
talkies.
knows.
Yes, yeah. Good morning. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning.
Hey.
What's going on the main drag downtown on Ocoee Street today?
The Apple Festival.
The what?
Apple Festival.
Apple Festival. Okay, very good. Well, you're talking about everything else on the radio, and I thought, well, they're bound to say something about it after a while.
Yeah, well, we did real early.
And then if you're in Charleston, they're having a hazard drill.
No, thank you.
Bye-bye.
I got a message a few minutes ago that the drill up in Charleston is wrapping up, and I hope everything went successful up there. We need to know what to do in the event of emergency, and I'm sure they figured out a bunch of things today because thankfully we have a lot of industry here in Bradley County.
Yes, and those drills are important. And so is the Museum Center at 5 Point.
Yes, it is.
It is very, very important.
Well, we wanted it for so long, and we finally got one. Yes.
And Hassan, you're doing a great job
Well, thank you.
down there. And Lisa, it's really been to see the changes and in the progression that we're making there at the museum. And if you haven't been there, now's the time to come join and enjoy the members' night to see it, and or not, come Friday and at least just view it.
Sure.
Admission $5?
Yep.
Okay. Good morning, live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yeah, Ron, this is Joe.
Hey, Joe, well, you know something about the Princess, don't you?
Yeah, I do.
All right, tell us about it.
Now, back when I worked there, there was a company out of Georgia down there that owned, I believe it was Marietta. Someone was down in there that owned the Martin.
That's what, in the 1970s?
No, it's 60s.
In the 60s.
Then a company out of Michigan bought it and changed the name to Martin Theater.
All right. And I'm pretty sure Mr. Fair owned it for a good number of years before that.
Well, I don't remember that.
Did he own it or did he manage it?
See, that's what I don't know in my brain today.
I believe Fair. Now, I believe there was a manager up there named Fair.
Hoyt Fair, right. He's the one who went and built part of the people that built the Starview Theater. And he fell off of it, and that's how come he was in a wheelchair
For the rest of his life. Well, and Mr. Fair, I know that he was operating the Princess when Wild River was released because he's in the pictures. I mean, there's information about that.
Hey, Debbie, I've got a obituary here. I'm holding in my hand. It said Mrs. K-A-T-I-A-B. It said she was a school teacher, and she graduated from Cleveland High School in 1899. Where would that be?
That was Bradley. It was called Cleveland High School until they built the old Bradley in 1917.
Since she served as a principal with Arnold.
I believe Cleveland High School might have actually been in Charleston. Somebody can help me here because I don't have any information with me on that this morning. But I know that we have football pictures and band pictures of a real small band, almost like a 4-piece band that said CHS on it, and it's Cleveland High School. And there was a Hopewell High School. There were a lot of 3-year high schools in Bradley County. And then they consolidated it all, and we had Charleston and we had Bradley.
Yeah, I couldn't remember when it said Cleveland High School in 1899. That school wasn't even built in 1899.
Yeah, the current one was built, they opened in 1966.
Was it 66 or 69?
Oh, it was earlier. It's 65, 66.
Yeah,
they had
in there, yeah.
The first Bradley football game was like 66, I think, maybe, and Bradley won 19-6, if I remember.
See,
straight.
Ron hangs it on to a football score.
And then we didn't win for like 20 more years after that one. But, you know.
Online here, someone's confirming that Cleveland High School was in Charleston.
Charleston, okay. I just wondering because I'm going to bring this obituary down to you. I got a few more things I've got.
All righty.
And, hey, I can remember now when when Cleveland was a booming town.
Mm-hmm. Oh, downtown? Yes.
Yeah, downtown every Friday.
And I think that not just happened to Cleveland, but it happened all over America when the mall moved out on the big highway.
Mm-hmm. Interstate system.
And it put little moms and pops out of business, and it just wasn't feasible for them to have their own businesses anymore.
Hey, Joe, do you remember the Grand Lunch?
Yeah, I do.
Was that not a great place to eat?
Boy, that was a good place. I always loved that, what they call that? Look like it wasn't gravy. Is that something else they used to have down there?
I don't know. They had that open-faced steak sandwich. It was good.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, they put that toast down on there, then put that meat on there, and then slop that gravy on it.
Ooh.
Boy, you talk about good.
Yeah. Now, when you walked into Grand Lunch, you said you want meatloaf, potatoes, corns, and beans, and someone put it on the plate as you said it. I mean, when you said meatloaf, there's meatloaf on a plate, and real plates and hand it to you. But now,
real plates.
You didn't go up to the counter. You told a waitress that, and she just yelled it out. And there's some guy back there throwing it on the plate, and she run got it, put it on your plate. 30 seconds, you was eating.
Yeah. Now the teddy bear had that too. That meat and stuff. Or what'd you call it?
Open face.
Yeah. Teddy bear had that, but it wasn't as good as.
Yeah, hamburgers down at Teddy Bear was good.
Yeah.
Them little greasy things there, there's more grease on the wall than there was on the burgers.
No.
That was good.
Thanks, Joe, for
Teddy
calling.
Bear?
Teddy Bear.
That's the name of the restaurant?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. Oh, okay.
Okay, Debbie's reporting that in Craig Miles Hall, the new skating rink opened April 1st, 1881. Mm-hmm. And on April the 15th, 1881, the newspaper reported that Fanny Klingon broke her ankle there.
Oh, my God.
Poor thing.
But now I remember working in one of those buildings, the one that...
I broke my fanny skating one time.
Oh, I think it's the Bilbos, the building that the Bilbos own now downtown, which is in that same place with the Craig Miles Opera House, that same block. When I worked downstairs there, people told me that they remember coming and skating upstairs above that building.
And then the National Guard drilled where the skating ring was in the Craig Mile Hall. The National Guard were in there for a while.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, it became a lot of things down there. So
right.
So
what else did you discover, Miss Lisa? Anything you want to tell us about?
Well,
we had some major department stores, I know, in later years downtown, but we also had the Odd Fellows, which is a fraternity group, was across the street. Well, about there where Cafe Roma is now. Mm-hmm. And then we had People's Bank in where the Logan's Law Office is, and we had a lot of different stores in that block where Stampers is located, but Horner's has been there for a good long time. they've been in business probably getting close to a family business for 100 years now. And they started out in jewelry, and they would make your eyeglasses. And then they turned into eye doctors and would make your glasses.
It's the oldest continuous in the United States.
Wow.
So
it's been in the same family. Yes.
Yeah, so it's pretty.
So it's the second or third Dr. Horner we've had. Third, I think.
And for the listeners who you guys won't remember this, of course, at the Spot, when you used to go in the Spot, it was just that one little small area, not what it is now.
Right.
Because that's where you sit and eat now. That's Max's pool room. So where the bar where they're cooking at, that was the entire restaurant over there. It was not as wide as this room. And there's 7 or 8 stools there.
You could barely walk behind the people sitting on the stools.
They make chili was unbelievable there. Of course, they used the same pot for 50 years. They never washed it; they just poured more chili in. And
that's why it was so good.
Oh, but the flavor! But you could just. But you walk in, you say you want a cheeseburger and chili, and they'd set it down. And when you wanted to shake, they mixed it in one of those silver cups, and they set you a cup and the big silver thing down in front of you. You got to pour it in there.
Oh, that's
now,
when
when you're a boy, that's some big time stuff right there. When you get to pour your own milkshake in there, but you could be sitting there eating, and you could say, "I think I'm gonna need another cheeseburger," and Lyman lay one down over there. But the cook and what's the 2 guys, Lyman and my mind can't think. Anyway, the guy cooking and the guy running the register, he'd say 2 cheeseburgers to go, and he'd throw them. They're about the length of this room. He would throw them, and then he would open the little 6-ounce Coke bottles and throw those.
Oh.
And they'd catch them and just serve them away. And, of course, you had the Frosties. They still had the Frosty machine up there, the original Frosty machine.
I'm not sure they have it now.
But you can go up there and get you a Frosty. Oh, my goodness. It's a milkshake that's frozen, basically, and pretty good. But they'd actually throw hamburgers back and forth down there. And you stand there. If you order them to go, you walk up there and you just throw them down there. So
they were the original fast food.
Right.
I assure you.
Apparently.
And they had a window there where you could just walk up and order a Frosty outside, and you
That'd
didn't
be
have to step in there. Ron, Mark's Restaurant that was in the People's Bank building. Do you remember that in the 70s?
The People's Mark's? No, I don't.
Well, Deb's got a picture of it, and I don't.
Mark's Restaurant. Don't know. I remember Moore's Drug Store, and then, of course, here we were a legend for our hot slaw. Everybody claims they had the best hot slaw. Moore's Pharmacy. Of course, the drive-in, the Starview Theater, had the best hot slaw. And, of course, we had one of the guys who made it come in here just for that show. We did a show on hot slaw.
Or did you have like a sample?
Oh, yeah, we did, yeah.
It's good. You can buy some over here at the Save a Lot.
Tino made it.
What makes it hot?
They use, it's a Tuscan pepper. If you ever go order a pizza and they pickle those little peppers they put with them.
They pickle those little peppers they put with them.
They're called pepperonis, or how do you say
pepperonis
that? Anyway, those pickles, but they're peppers are actually a Tusculum pepper of some type.
It's kind of a yellow pepper.
And they use it.
Oh, basically just dice it up.
Yeah. Now you can get people pours all kind of put jalapenos and Tabasco in there. That's not good hot slaw. You've got to have the right.
It just
kind.
needs to have a small flavor to it.
And speaking, if you're ever in down towards Talladega, it's going where you're from, go to the Top of the River restaurant down there.
We were in Oxford, Alabama.
Oxford.
And it was
That's
crazy
sort of like
good.
Charleston. Mm-hmm. Good morning, live on Old Town Cleveland.
Yeah, this is James.
Hey, James.
Hey, James.
I didn't know if anybody remembered the P&T grill. I didn't get to hear the whole show.
Tell us about it, because no, we don't.
Paul Carter, when he left the Spot, I don't know if it closed or what. Him and his daughter and son took it to him. I don't remember his last name. It was the P&T Grill right down there at 5-1.
Yeah, they called it the Snack House or something, or Snack Shop.
It was called the P&T.
It's if you turn right as you come under the bridge.
Yeah,
you turn right there on Edwards.
Okay. Yeah, it faced the mill.
Bigger than the Spot. It wasn't real big at all.
Anything's bigger than the Spot.
Yeah.
I don't think there's nothing in there.
What else do you remember there, James?
I remember all 4 of the people that worked there when I used to eat was Chester Perkle, and he run it, and Paul Carter and Lyman Pendergrass and Tommy Trotter.
Okay, that was all the Spot gang.
Yeah.
Yeah. But all I remember is the P&P. I used to stop. There wasn't anywhere to park. It was awful.
That's probably what happened to the business.
Yeah.
Because you had those factories running down there, and parking was at a premium on that end. Now, do you remember? It'd probably be back when you were more like a young boy. There where the Elks Lodge is. Were there houses right in that area?
I remember a few. Yeah.
Okay.
There wasn't many.
Okay. I can't remember the houses, but I certainly would like to have pictures of them in that area because I've tracked some families down that live right in there, and I'd like to see what the houses look like if anybody's got any pictures.
Jerry Frazier told me down there at P&T that you can get a hamburger steak, coleslaw, and a roll for 89 cents.
That's at the snack house at the 5 Points Pharmacy.
But Paul couldn't get Tim to learn to catch the Cokes like they used to do.
That was entertaining, wasn't it, when they throwed those Cokes?
Sitting there eating at the spot. Now, there's no lie. They did throw Cokes. I'd see them a lot of times.
And it was kind of a swoop. They'd pick it up, and it'd go down in front of him, and he would open it with the opener, and then it'd just fly through the air.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh.
Right, the opener was right inside the kitchen where the refrigerator was, and he'd reach back there and open it and throw it. But then they'd grin at each other, and they'd catch the place full, and Paul would say, cup of coffee to go.
Oh.
And everybody would just lean back.
And they always looked like they were having a good time.
Dinner and a show.
Dinner and a show.
And Paul could, you remember, Ron, when he would put a burger on there, he always slapped it.
Oh, you got to slap it down, yeah.
You could hear it pop outside. So, but good memories. I'm listening.
Hey, James, what do you think a hamburger cost then? A quarter?
I believe it was, 25, 30 cents.
Yeah.
And chili, you could eat chili and a burger and all the crackers you wanted and a drink for $1, a little over $1.
Did they ever watch a chili pot? You seen that chili pot, didn't you?
Yeah, they've never washed it. That's why.
Wonder if we could find that to put in the museum.
You know, and that top layer's a crust.
That's the flavor.
I'm thinking
Thanks, James, for
health
listening.
code violation may have been their downfall.
We didn't have those back then.
Oh, okay.
That's before the city got reorganized.
Right, yeah. They're more interested in open saloons.
Yeah.
But, downtown we had that really old hotel down there until 1960s, the Akoi Hotel that was on the corner where the bank is now.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, again, another place that before the Cherokee Hotel was the hub of Cleveland.
Right, they had
from
running
the
water.
beginning of
and-
Cleveland.
Of course, then the next fanciest hotel in the area was in Athens at the Robert E. Lee.
That's right.
Good morning. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
There's a few stories there.
Oh, yeah.
Go ahead.
Hey, I heard you talking about that chili that Lyman Pendergrass used to make up there at the spot.
Uh-huh.
He gave me that recipe, and I have it down here at my house.
Oh, we're going to come to visit you.
Only thing is, you have to make it in 5-gallon buckets.
Well, you need a lot of us to come visit you.
Party.
Do you wash your pots?
I think it's a pretty personal question right there.
No.
Anyway, the other thing I was wanting to ask you was down there, you was talking about the snack house number 2 down there at 5.
Yes.
Whatever happened to the snack house number 1?
Well, my brain's not working right now to tell you where that even was. I believe it was up on Coy Street, wasn't it? In the pharmacy?
I don't have no idea where it was. My daddy used to take me down there to snack house number 2 and get brains and eggs, but I never did know where the snack house number 1 was at.
Well, Ron has no brains and does not want to eat any brains, I'm sure.
I've ordered brains in several places, still ain't got any.
Well, anyway, I just wanted to tell you that out here in Radio Land, we really enjoy listening to yuns, and so I'm going to just hang up now and let you just talk about whatever it is you was talking about.
Thank you so much.
All right.
Bye-bye.
A real treat for everybody that happens to be tuned in on the internet right now. Can see pictures. This is our former county executive, Eddie Cartwright, and his beautiful bride. And they provided these pictures so that we could
That's
see
inside the Cherokee.
Hotel.
And you can see the beautiful windows behind them, and it's just classic photos. We really appreciate them sharing those with us.
Good morning. You're live on Old Town Cleveland.
Good morning, Ron.
Good morning,
Hey,
Brenda.
Brenda, what's up, sister?
Y'all were talking about the P&T Grill.
Go ahead.
The first job I ever had was right there on the corner from the P&T Grill.
At the wig shop?
At the wig shop.
Tell everybody that story real fast. How you came to work there.
Well, I went in one day with my aunt. She was going to buy a hairpiece, and they didn't have a stylist. So she told Ann, she said, well, my niece can style it. And she said, oh, okay. And so I put it in her hair, and I made the curls and everything. And Ann said, she said, boy, you're good. And she said, that looks real nice. And I said, well, thank you. And I was between 18 and 19 years old, I guess. And she said, would you like to have a job? And I said, well, what kind of job? And she said, styling our wigs. I said, well, I don't have a license. She said, oh, I don't care. She said, I'll pay the fine. And so she hired me, and I ended up managing the wig shop and being the stylist and everything. And I'd walk over to P&T Grill every day to have my lunch. And, well, I'd just grab it, bring it back to the shop. And they had the most wonderful food. It didn't matter what I ordered. It was good. And I won't ever forget that, because I enjoyed working there at that little old shop, and she had a lot of confidence in me, because she'd take off. She'd be gone sometimes 2 or 3 days, and I'd just have it to myself. And one day I had just put a wig in to wash, and the inspector came in, and she said, where is your stylist? I said, oh, she's gone to lunch. And the wig was in the water, and she asked me about that, and I said, oh, she's got it soaking in something. I said, to loosen the hairspray. So I got by with that, and that was the only time that the inspector ever came in when I was there by myself.
So the first time you violated the law.
Right.
Well, actually, yeah, and she didn't have to pay any fines that day, because the inspector accepted it, and that was the end of that. But
well, Brenda, we always enjoy your calls.
Well, I appreciate y'all. I appreciate the show, and I just can't wait for it to come on every Saturday. And
well, thank you. Next week's going to be a really fun show. We're going to have Jack Sanders on, talking about living out in the country in Chattahoochee Valley. It depends on who you're talking to.
That's right.
I'll call it Chattahoochee this morning.
I call it Chattahoochee.
Chattahoochee, see? And Chattahoochee.
And tomato and tomatoes.
And so it's just where you live, and if you live there, it's someplace else, how you say it. Thank you, Miss Brenda.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Well, folks, this time has just whirled away.
We're done?
Let's talk about
tell us about when it's happening again.
Thursday, 6 p.m., members only opening for Building Cleveland Up. It should be a lot of fun, a lot of education, being with people who share the same love for history and culture, which is what our membership comprises of. If you're not a member, stop by the museum. Give us a call, 339-5745. We will be happy to hook you up with a membership and explain to you the membership process. And then Friday, the 25th, Building Cleveland Up opens to the public.
And it's $5 admission?
Yes.
Which is more than reasonable.
Yes.
And you know what I loved about
Absolutely.
the last opening?
What's that?
It's the fact that there were people there that had actually worked in those places and
Right.
done
Oh, yes.
those things.
Absolutely.
And I think maybe y'all expected a couple of them, but not the quantity of people. And to stand there and listen to people's stories.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Ron and I had a hard time leaving that night, because one or the other of us was in the middle of somebody's story. And so that was a really exciting thing. And then, too, you guys are going to have the free silent movie probably around 7 o'clock on Halloween.
Mm-hmm.
And his name was Nostradamus?
Nosferatu.
Not for you.
Not for you.
No, this is almost a Dracula movie, right?
Yes.
Okay. That's a
I
good
think
way.
it's better than Dracula.
Better than Dracula.
All
Hey,
right.
caller, go ahead.
Yeah, Ron, this Joe again.
Yeah.
Let me tell you a good one on the spot up there. Let me tell you how to get rid of all your customers.
All right.
Now, I worked up there,
Oh boy.
and I've done this. To start cutting up and chopping up them onions.
In that little bitty space.
In that little old bitty space, and all the customers' eyes started watering. They just had to get up and leave.
It was time to close.
I love it, Joe. That works. That works sometimes on unwanted relatives too.
And if anybody needs a skunk, I have one at my house.
We have a caged skunk at our house. Goodbye, folks. Thank you again for being such loyal listeners, and we love the emails that you send us and, the calls that constantly come in about how much you enjoy the show. And we appreciate our friends here at the museum for coming in today and sharing what's going on down on Inman Street with us. And we wish them best of luck. And we're trying to work on a project with them together coming up next spring.
And everybody who ever went to the Bohemia, the Princess, the Monita,
the Lincoln.
Think about the first movie you saw there when you come by. Just when you go in and see the exhibit, just say, and say, I saw the darn cat, and then I saw Cool Hand Luke there. Well, that's one of my favorites.
I might switch that story up if I were you. I might say the other one first.
Yeah, there's a bigger line for that darn cat, though. It was a big opening there. It's crowded. And I got a suicide. In a pickle and a popcorn.
Of course you did.
Something we never said is that it was segregated for a long time.
It was.
And most theaters was, and there was a balcony where the black community could sit there.
Mm-hmm.
And then later when I started going by the 60s is it just everybody no one went up to the balcony.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't even remember.
We wanted to go to the balcony, but, we weren't allowed to go to the balcony. So.
Thanks again, folks.
Yeah. Hey, folks.
See you next week.
We always say as every week is that you need to start getting those old pictures out from the closets and the shoe boxes, and get someone from your family to start writing the names down and start sharing those with people, because everyone will enjoy those. You'll be surprised who will say, I worked with your grandfather, I worked with that, or I worked in this building or that, or I drove that type of car. Any type of old picture can bring back some great memories. And we always say here, we'll always remember what happened at Pearl Harbor, and Deb added, we may not remember what happened to Aunt Pearl. So, but we don't know what happened at your street or down in your family. You got to write it down and share it with people. We'll be back next week with Chattata Valley, Deb.
You are listening to WOOP-LP, Cleveland, Tennessee. WOOP FM is a broadcasting service of the Traditional Music Resource Center, and we play America's original music.
Where'd the old town go? They moved it all north of here in a shopping mall.
Turn your car into cash at Check Into Cash. Get a title loan fast